Hi, welcome, and welcome to another week ahead astrology forecast with myself, Penny Dix. It's good to see so many of you here already, and I really like that you've done that wishing pool tarot because I think it'll be interesting to see how it ties in with the astrology and also with the card that I will pull. So thank you for doing that. And Cosmic BL, I think you are here. And Annabelle, hello. Good to see you here. I hope everybody is well. I know Andy can't join us tonight because she sent me a little message. Ravina, good to see you. And we'll see how things progress because, of course, we are fast moving into spring end and summer beginning. Nice card, wishing well. Oh, what have you done? What? Oh, hang on a minute. You've pulled a card for the week. It's the 9 of Pentacles, which is about independence. It points to financially, but can be emotionally becoming whole on our own. That's interesting. And the 9 of Coins. Now that is very interesting because I am going to spend a short bit of time talking about the Canadian election, which is tomorrow, Monday the 28th. Hi Lola, hi Sue NB, Ursa 7, good to see you. Sue NB, happy Sunday to you too. And I think what's interesting is that what I've done with Canada, because I'm going to come to today in a minute, because we know what's happening today. We've got a new moon. We are in the aftermath of the Mars-Pluto opposition. So I want you to tell me, while I talk a little bit about Canada, how you have been feeling the last few days with the build-up of the Mars-Pluto energy, which has been quite tough for some people. For some people, it will have been a little bit like having a rocket stuffed up their behind and propelling them into change or making decisions that will empower them. So do let me know how you have been feeling. And oh, brilliant. Yes. By the way, Annabella's just reminded me that on my other channel, which is called Channeling and Stranger Things with Sarah Sands Smith, we've just uploaded actually 2 videos. There's a third coming up later. The first video is a past life regression. Again, another, so that you can see, and it is a very different life. It's very interesting, actually. So that's Sarah taking me into a deep regression. The second video I've uploaded is an experiment of manifestation, which is using a statue of St. Joseph. And I know some of you know about this, where you bury him upside down outside your house, facing it, and you say a prayer and you make this prayer and ask for this intercession, I think it's called, every day until your wish becomes real. And I've heard on many good authorities from many people it really works, but the actual video of us burying St. Joseph, it's a good thing we weren't left to do the funeral arrangements for yesterday, is all I can say. But it is quite funny, so you might enjoy that. Oh, hi, Jim. You're here from the terrific experiment. Well, it was certainly different, wasn't it? It was certainly something to to enjoy, maybe. Right, Ursa, you're not taking any nonsense from anyone. Is that the Mars-Pluto opposition? Do you know what? I felt like that as well. Has anybody else felt like that? That it's like, absolutely not. It's this way and that's it. And if you don't like it, there's the door. That's a little bit how some of us may have been feeling with this energy. Oh, Jim, thank you. I know it'll be work. And in fact, I already have a viewing due this end of this week. So we will see how that one goes. And that was really because I put a little bit of pressure on the agent. I just said, hey, what's happening? Nothing. Exactly. So can we make something happen? So we will see. So Mykonos, you're saying the energy has got you exhausted. It is exhausting energy. And I have to say, because I've done a lot of videos with Sarah today, I'm kind of like, I'm exhausted. But anyway, we've gone our separate ways now. She's gone home. I'm here. I'm doing this. And I'm just going to see if there's anything else I want to come to. Wishing Pool Tarot, you've got intense old wounds coming up. Yes, that can be a manifestation of this energy. And well, maybe before I go on to the Canadian election, I'll just spend a little bit of time talking about today, because, you know, this Mars-Pluto opposition, we've actually gone past it now. That is the good news, because it's the moon, actually 1930, 2030. The moon hasn't actually quite gone new yet. In fact, just let me do a chart of the moment, because this will tell us, no, the moon has not gone full yet. But Mars has moved 1 degree forwards from his opposition to Pluto. That is good news, because it's going to we're going to start to feel this energy dissipating. And remember, this new moon today has a fixed grand cross in it between the sun and the moon at 7 degrees, Pluto at 3 degrees, Mars at 4 degrees, and obviously the new moon is Taurus, Pluto is in Aquarius, Mars is in Leo, and then you've got Black Moon Lilith, that rather naughty demon in Scorpio, also making part of this fixed grand cross. And basically, this is fixed energy, which means nothing gives. So with this Mars-Pluto opposition, it means that we're feeling we want to just flex our muscles, get out there, that this is just too much. It can be quite combustible. In fact, before I started the video tonight, I found that I was, because I've just had some supper, and so I have been rushing around, and I thought, oh, I just need to breathe and calm, because I could feel myself getting round and round and round and round and round, and really getting a little bit too hyped up. So I calmed myself down. Hi, Linda Tango. Tiffany, you're asking, what degree is Black Moon Lilith? Black Moon Lilith is at 5 degrees and 44 minutes of Scorpio. And the new moon is at 7 degrees. In fact, Black Moon Lilith right now at this moment is completely opposite the moon, because the moon has not gone new yet, and the moon is at 5 degrees and 37 minutes. Pluto's at 3 degrees and 48 minutes, and Mars is at 4 degrees and 5 minutes. Now, what's interesting is that Pluto is going to go into a retrograde at the beginning of May. And remember, this Wednesday, I will do, is it Wednesday or Thursday? No, I think it's Thursday. This Thursday, I will do a live stream for the month ahead to introduce us to the energy of what is going to be happening in May. So, on with the energy of today. Let's see. Yes, Jim, good word, combustible. It is combustible. And we did see, of course, in Canada, sadly, in Vancouver, somebody used their car as a weapon again at a festival being held by a group of, or a community, should we say, of Filipinos. And I believe quite a few people, sadly, lost their lives, which is just appalling. Oh, there we go, Ravina. You're just talking about it now. He drove his vehicle into a crowd. And I guess there will be a lot of tension going on in Canada. And I think in many ways, the date for the election for Canada is good that it's actually tomorrow. So it's within the new moon energy. So let's just have a look at this now. It's within the new moon energy. The energy of Mars-Pluto opposition has just moved off, but it's been pretty strident in Canada's chart. What I've got in front of me is the natal chart for Canada and the new moon in Taurus. And I know that a lot of Canadians are concerned about whether the American administration will go for a land grab with Canada. And I would like to say, from the astrology point of view, it won't work. It won't happen. It just won't. I don't see it happening because, first of all, because natally, in Canada's natal chart, Cancer is on the 4th house cusp. And in Cancer is the Sun and Uranus conjunct. Canada likes to go it alone, be different, be innovative, have freedom of speech, freedom of movement, and rebellion is not encouraged, but it is understood and interpreted and not crushed. That is what I read from Canada's natal chart. Now, the new moon in the chart for Canada, what sign rules Canada? Well, the ascendant for Canada is Aries. And so Mars is their ruling planet. And with the sun in Cancer, also, of course, the moon plays a huge role in the future of Canada. And with Aries on the ascendant, and the new moon is in Taurus, and because I use the tropical Placidus system, it means that the new moon is actually in the 1st house, about Canada's identity. Interestingly, it's a bit wide, but it's coming up to be conjunct their natal Pluto. By tomorrow, by Tuesday, the moon will have gone over their natal Pluto and be well on her way into Gemini. So there is actually quite significantly interesting energy. So what I think is also interesting is that transiting Uranus is in their 2nd house. And the 2nd house for them natally has Venus, which of course rules the 2nd house, because Venus is about accruement. It's about value. It's about how we earn our money, how Canada makes its money. And Uranus here in Taurus has shown us that there have been some unexpected and twists of turns that are happening for the Canadians, but that actually with Uranus about to move into Gemini very soon, whoa, Canada's going it alone. Canada's not going to be taken over by anyone. Really, seriously, it's not. I want to move on to how it affects, first of all, Pierre Poilievre, to show you how it affects his chart, to see whether he may be the next leader of Canada, the next prime minister. Now, Poilievre is a Sun Gemini, and his moon is in Virgo, which is quite interesting because this actually makes him have a similar chart to Trump. Now, I don't know anything about him. I have no idea if he has the same attributes that Trump has. But because we don't know his time of birth, I've used a noon time chart, which makes him a Leo ascendant, which again in itself is very interesting because it makes him quite Trumpian. It's the only way to say it. Now, will he be the next prime minister? Well, he has a new moon in Taurus. It's conjunct his natal Mars. He will be fighting, and probably has been fighting really hard to hi Jem. He will have already been fighting really hard to bring about this change. And it feels as if what he's experiencing is, I think from his chart, it's not his time. I think that's the best way I can put it. It's not his time. But if I go on to Mark Carney, I would say without a shadow of a doubt, it's his time. Now, I don't know which one most Canadians want in power. I'm aware of Mark Carney because he was the governor of the Bank of England for several years, and he did a very good job. Now, for him, we do actually have a birth time. So it gives him Sun in Pisces. So he's actually got Saturn conjunct his Sun currently, and Venus has been conjunct his Sun, as has Neptune. This man is really finding depths in his soul which have surprised him. His intuition, his gut feeling is spot on. Now, his moon is in Virgo, conjunct Uranus and Pluto. This man brings change, but it's well thought through. He pays great attention to the details. And his ascendant is Taurus. Now, transiting Uranus has been sitting on his ascendant and has just gone over it into his first house. Of course, he's going to be the next leader. I could be totally wrong, but this man from his chart is going through massive, extraordinary change. So I feel, based on the astrology, he is the most likely candidate to be chosen. But I think it's going to be tough because I think Polivier is going to be putting, or has been, I don't know, putting up an incredibly good opposition argument. But my feeling is it's more likely that it'll go the way of Mark Carney, but I could be wrong. So don't shoot the messenger if I'm wrong. So let's see who's here. Oh, Annabelle, you've got Virgo moon. Yes, of course you're deep thinkers, but sometimes you get so caught in the thinking, you overthink it, and then you are caught in that, and you don't you don't reach a resolution. And that's the difficulty sometimes for the sign of Virgo. They just keep doing the same thing and going over the same routine and going over the same answers without getting there. But I do feel this man, Carney, is a hard worker. He's an incredibly hard worker, and his whole persona is about service. Service to the country, service to his party, service firstly to the people. And I think he is a man who listens. And he does not have an enormous ego from this chart. I don't see it. I really don't see it. This man is a leader. That's all I can say. So let's have a look. So Cosmic BL, strange energy, friend of yours kept trying to push your buttons, so you cut them off, and you've received threats from a total stranger, much ado about nothing. How unpleasant. That's horrible. Yes, Annabelle, perfectionists. But it has to be for the good of all. Exactly. Has anyone, Asi Poonam, you're here. Hi. And Shirley, hi. And Jim, overthinker. Of course you're an overthinker, Jim. You're Virgo rising. But not always bad. No, you're absolutely right. It is actually very important to go over all the details and be mindful before one launches into something. As a Leo ascendant, but with Mercury and Mars in Gemini natally, I do the overthinking, and then the Mars bit takes over and I go, oh, I don't know. No, I'll do it, or I'll say it. So the Mars bit can sometimes in my Gemini override the common sense of my Mercury in Gemini that's saying, let's think this through. So I don't do that. Your Virgo moon too, Shirley. Hi, Diva Diane. Absolutely, Diva Diane. Diane for next Prime Minister of Malta. That's what I'm rooting for. There you go. That's what you should be doing, Diane. Definitely. So your Virgo rising, Virgo Gemini rising, drive myself around the bend most of the time, Annabelle. That's lovely. Oh, bless you. And Wishing Pool Tarot, you're saying your thinking just goes round and round. Yeah, Annabelle, he is attractive, isn't he? Mark Carney. Whew. Yeah, when he was a bit younger, he was at the Bank of England. Before my mother passed, we used to sit there and, oh, he's nice. Oh, I'd say, quick, come and watch television. Mark Carney's on. And we'd look. And he was, a real hotsy-potsy, really nice man. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away. I shall get all hot. I'm going on now to talk about the week ahead because, as usual, Penny being saucy, absolutely. Listen, as I said, if you want to have a laugh before you go to bed tonight, watch the 7-minute video on our other channel, Channeling and Stranger Things, where we manifest a buyer for the house. It's hysterical. It wasn't intended to be hysterical, and it is supposed to be totally serious. And it is serious because we really do believe that by having the intention and doing this ceremony of burying St. Joseph upside down facing my home, that it will bring the buyer, that it will manifest the buyer. But it's actually quite a funny little video. So check it out. It's only 7 minutes long. And so let's see what else is happening this week. Well, hotsy potsy. Oh dear, there's no holding me sometimes. Anyway, what I want to say just to finish the Canadian side of things is I would be very surprised if Mark Carney isn't the next Prime Minister, but I do think it'll be a close race and there may be a recount or maybe several recounts. And I do think that Canada will retain its sovereignty and independence. I do not see that happening, the land grab that is threatened happening. I think it could provoke civil war. So there we go. I've said it. Hi, Janice. Good to see you here. Jim, perfectly funny and profound. Right, let's move on. So apart from today, which is, oh God, that was enough, isn't it? New moon in Taurus coming up in a couple of hours' time, 3 hours' time. And we have the Mars-Pluto opposition. And that is fading. That by the end of April, that will really move off. And even though Pluto is going retrograde on the 4th of May, Mars will move more quickly. So they don't actually have another opposition, which I think we can all breathe a sigh of relief about, because I think, though, that we're going to see some good results, some positive results this week from this Mars-Pluto opposition because of the transformational energies of Pluto. So that by being assertive, by being direct, by asking for what we want, because, sometimes we forget that it's not about being all kind of, oh, dear divine universe, dear divine energy, in your most humblest servant here, I'm asking, could you please grant me my wish to manifest a buyer for my house? No, you go, look, enough's enough, bring the buyer now. Because then the divine will answer and go, oh, okay, right, better get on this, let me sort this out. That is the way it happens. And so that, bearing that in mind, the interesting thing, and I because it's so fresh in my mind, this video we've done about the ceremony to bury St. Joseph, sounds terrible, doesn't it? To invite a buyer to the house. It uses the words at the end of the prayer, of the kind of incantation. Thank you, St. Joseph, for answering, something like, thank you for answering my prayer, in the sense that what it's saying is it's already in reality. And that's sometimes where we get lost with the law of attraction, because we're keeping things out there instead of knowing that they've already manifested. They just haven't quite connected with our energy yet. And so this is a great big shift, because if one thinks about it logically, I need to attract a buyer to my flat. Well, that person already exists. This is not someone that doesn't exist. This person exists. They just haven't found me yet and my home. So St. Joseph is interceding to show the buyer the way. And then I don't have to do anything. I just go, oh, what's this, Janice? You buried St. Joseph and sold and bought this great place. There you go. There you go. It works. So thank you, Jim. Thank you. Yeah, person is on the way. Thank you, Jim. Listen, Venus is entering Aries on the 30th of April. This is good news. We are now going to start seeing a little bit of a shift away from this Pisces energy, which we've been drowning in, which we've been getting caught into the emotion and the lack of boundaries and the inability to be effective or assertive or to actually manifest or initiate anything. So with Venus moving into Aries on the 30th, this brings a huge shift in the energies. And what it brings is the opportunity now to make manifest that which we want to bring into our lives, whatever that may be. So this new moon that we have today, which isn't new yet, you still got time to invite in, to bring in that energy, is a perfect time to be very decisive, very certain about what you want, and just say, I want it and I want it now. Sometimes we just have to be more assertive, because not only does it tell the universe, we're also telling ourselves to not be wishy-washy about things, to not be, oh, well, I don't know, it'll all be all right, I guess it'll fall into place. But, yeah, the relief of assertion, I like that, Jim. Really good way of putting it, because what we do then is what Mars opposite Pluto has been trying to get us to do, to own our power. How many of you, the astrobite I put up, I think it was yesterday, was about, do you give away your power? How often, how many of you give your power away? Because oh no, I can't, I can't ask for what I want because it's rude. Actually, do you know what? We don't get anywhere if we don't ask for what we want. And the universe, the divine mind, the divine intelligence, our guides, whatever you want to call, assign a name to, respond to being asked directly. They want us to be clear, concise, and precise. So, okay, Earth of 7, you've been swimming in Pisces for ages and you can't wait to wave bye-bye. Well, we can go bye-bye, Pisces, because now we've only got Saturn and the node there. This is on from Wednesday onwards. And basically, Venus in a few days then will come up to conjunct Neptune. I'll do that as a separate astrobite because that can sometimes make us a little bit uncertain that which we're insisting to manifest, is it really what I want? So be a little bit mindful of that. What's this? You feel sometimes we've all been sold a lie. Time to get back in the saddle, so to speak. Yes, Annabelle, absolutely. And do you know what? I'm going to say this about the law of attraction because, the law of attraction, I think, on the whole, does not get taught. We don't get told the secret ever. I'm going to tell you what that secret is. You have to manifest it now. No messing around. You just say, I want it and I want it now. And you have to know with absolute certainty that the divine is doing its absolute best to draw all the threads of your manifestation desire together to give you something that is the best possible solution for you. It may be slightly different from your exact wish, but it'll be as good. And more than that, it could be better and will be better. Let the divine do its work. That way, we're all in a win-win situation and you can go, just let it go. Let it go. Yes, Annabelle, she is. She is. And I like that, Jem. You're laughing. Well, I'm glad someone's laughing. We need to laugh. Do you know what? We need to relax. We need to laugh. Look, we're at the end of, the sun's already in Taurus. Come on, we've been through Aries and we're still feeling as if we're stuck in Pisces. And, this is going to change. It's changing this week. As we get into May, things are going to start moving. Be ready for it. Be prepared for the change. You don't have to do much other than know with absolute certainty that that which you wish for is already in reality. You just have to find your way to it, and it has to find its way to you. So you have to attract it to you. It's as simple as that. It's that Mark Carney, he's got us all hotsy-totsy. That's what it is. You've been crying, you've been a bit like that, but oh, Jem, you've got to laugh, Jem. Oh, well done, Diva Diane. Your Saturn returns over. Yeah, it's quite a bummer, isn't it? It certainly pushes us to grow. Certainly pushes us to change. Hi, Christine. Good to see you from Cyprus. I tell you what, it's still really cold here. Well, it's hot in the sun, but then you move out of the sun and you're thinking, it's freezing. So it's been quite cold. Anyway, moving on. Venus moves into Aries on the 30th. This is good news. Now, the other energy that is happening this week is, of course, the Venus conjunct Neptune. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Venus conjunct Neptune because I'll go into it in much more detail on an astrobite, but it's on May the 2nd. So May the 1st is Thursday when I do my live month ahead. May the 2nd is Friday. Oh, you've got April showers, tears. That's lovely. Bring May flowers, joy. I love that. That's beautiful. How long does a Saturn return last? Depends how long well, Saturn is in each sign for about 2 or 3 years, usually about 3 years. And so it moves back and forward across your natal Saturn. So what it means when you have a Saturn return is that Saturn basically returns to the place it was at your birth. Your first Saturn return is when you are 28, 29. And usually, if you think back, you'll remember the very significant events happened at that time. For example, you might have a baby, you might get married, you might get divorced, you might lose a parent, you might move house, but it will be something significant that you will go, oh yeah, when I was 28. You will remember it. And and then the second Saturn return comes when we're about 58, 59, 57, 58, 59. And that can be quite life-changing. I lost my mother on my second Saturn return. My Saturn is in Scorpio. And that is quite a classic kind of experience. And it was actually, what was so interesting about it is that she actually passed as my Saturn return ended. Now, when you have what we call the third experience, the third hit of Saturn's hitting your natal Saturn, it brings you the gift if you've done the work. Now, it would sound on the surface that losing my mother is not a gift. And of course, on that level, I didn't want to lose my mum. I loved my mum hugely. I was her full-time carer for 16 years. So she was an incredibly important and special person to me. But of course, the gift, which was Saturn, endings, death, that's it, completion. What Saturn gave me was freedom. Freedom to begin doing what I'm doing now. And I couldn't do that before. So sometimes the gift can come disguised. And that is the message of Saturn. Saturn will treat you kindly if you do its work, if you really work well with the Saturn dynamics. Now, can still hear the birds. Yeah, there's still birds around. Oh, Lily, that's lovely. You've got an extreme joy inside. No, nothing external can take it away. You can still hear the birds. That's beautiful. Hi, Parry. Laughing and crying both release the same endorphins in our body. Yes, they do. Spirit took complete hearing out of your left ear. It came with loss of balance and extreme tinnitus. You've been smiling and laughing through it all somehow. That's wonderful. Thank you, Annabelle. Yeah, I did. I looked after my mum for 16 years. It's very hard work. I did have to have help because she'd had a stroke when she was 77. So she needed a wheelchair and she needed assistance to move around. She had a walking frame, and I organised a carer to come in the morning and the evenings to help her get up and help her go to bed. I needed the help. I couldn't do it all on my own. It is exhausting. It's exhausting. And that is actually the main reason why I moved us both to Gozo, because I thought it'll be more fun doing it here. And actually, it was the best thing I could have done. It was just a perfect way to have given her something she'd really wanted, which was, in her terms, a kind of romantic, idealistic life in the Mediterranean. And so she loved this kind of atmosphere. But it's time now for me to relocate back to the UK. It's pulling me. I can feel it. It's pulling me. You, your mum's carer too, Shirley, sorry. Parry, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. And your essence of joy, your mother passed on your second Saturn return. So please, if any of you are coming up to your Saturn return and your mother's still alive, don't think automatically it means that she's going to pass. It doesn't. It doesn't. but the nature of relationships can change. And it'll usually be something significant. And of course, it depends very much on the area of your life that Saturn is in the sense, for instance, it was probably inevitable that it was my mother because it was in my fourth house. So I have Saturn natally in Scorpio in my fourth house. So therefore, Saturn was in my fourth house of mother and home. So Saturn brought to the end the reason why I had to stay at home. So it's quite a yes, she had a stroke, Annabelle. She'd had a stroke. It was very difficult. You're worried you will lose your mum during your upcoming Saturn return. Christine, please, honey, don't worry. Just because it happened to me and one or two others doesn't mean it's happening to you. As I said, it depends where Saturn is in your chart. What else is going on in your chart? Saturn does not always mean death, I hasten to add. You know, sometimes Jupiter can mean death. Liz Green has talked about that a lot because Liz Green is a psychoanalytical astrologer. She was a psychotherapist first and foremost, like myself, and she is a psychoanalytical psychotherapist astrologer. And she's written a book recently about Jupiter and how Jupiter can be seen as often being present in transits where somebody transitions to the non-physical. So please do not fear a Saturn return. It's interesting that we're talking about Saturn today because, you know, it's making me wonder what Saturn is doing. And of course, Saturn at the moment is actually conjunct Venus and the North Node. So we're all thinking about the future and how is Saturn going to take care of us or not. You know, we're kind of thinking about it. Okay, it gave you your daughter. Exactly. It can mean life. It brings in new life as well. That's the beauty of Saturn. And that's the 8th house. Remember, the 8th house is about death and transformation and birth. There is always going to be a cyclical cycle of life, you know, birth, life, and death. It's an inevitability. But what's interesting is that Saturn actually rules Capricorn. Capricorn is a cardinal sign about timing, prudence, structure, and rules. But Saturn is, you know, in old terminology, you could say Saturn is the dweller on the threshold. Saturn is the grandfather clock, ticking, tock, tick, tock. Saturn insists on timing, so that if anyone is fearful of a Saturn return, Saturn will bring things to toughen you up. You have to face them and listen. I was terrified of losing my mum. Do you know, it was probably one of the best things that happened to me. Oh my God, did I grieve? Do I still grieve 10 years on? Of course I do. But it's made me a grown-up. It's made me an adult, or at least sometimes I'm an adult. And it's made me much stronger and much happier. So I say that because please don't fear what the astrology can represent, because so much, my love, will depend, Christine, on your own natal chart, and not only your natal chart and transits, but your progressions, your secondary progressions. So I hope that helps you and others to understand not to fear Saturn returns. You see, Diva Diane, let me know. Have you just lost your mum? Because I don't think you have. because I think I would have seen it on Facebook. So there you go. It doesn't automatically mean that. So look, let's just look at this transit for, okay, you have nightmares about it, Christine. Yes. Okay, yes, Annabelle, you're absolutely right. Steve Judd says astrology impels, not compels. That is incredibly important. Yeah, essence of joy. Saturn in your second house brought financial freedom and loss, but it brings freedom. As does Uranus, as does Pluto. These are major outer planets and not to be taken literally. They will mean different things for different situations and different charts and different people. Let's just move on to this to Venus conjunct Neptune in Aries. I think we'll just be a little bit wobbly for a few days around the beginning of May, especially as Pluto is going to be slowing down to station retrograde. And so I think we might find next weekend, there's a little bit of anxiety about, maybe a little bit of fearfulness that what's happening, what's unfolding, just a lack of clarity and a disappointment that maybe we've had all of this excitement of manifestation and it's not happened yet. Timing. I just want to read what Diva Diane's written. Your mother is still alive in New York, but you gave birth to your son and soulmate during yours. 7th house. There you go. So read all these, Christine. Read all these messages because they're so important. And thank you, Diva Diane, for sharing that. So, we're all different. We have to remember that. Let's move on because I want to say just briefly before I come on to it's a phrase for the week, and we're going to do a tarot card for the week ahead. But basically this week, I think we're going to see, obviously there's the aftermath of the funeral of His Holiness the late Pope Francis. And I have to say, I did watch the funeral yesterday and oh my God, I thought it was beautiful. And the music. And I'm so happy it passed without any incidents because that was respect. That was great respect. And yes, that's interesting, Cosmic BL, what you're saying, equating death with sadness when it's the opposite in many cultures. This is why people now are encouraged to celebrate life. You celebrate life when someone passes. You celebrate their life. And I think that we're still in the West have this hangover from what I'd call the Victorian era, where we all wore black. Everything was miserable and cold and wet and horrible. And there was something because you see, Queen Victoria went into mourning for the rest of her life when her husband died and always wore black. And she put a blanket over the whole of the world with her sadness and mourning. And it's taking us nearly 100 years to get out of that and into a different way of looking and honoring the passing of life. So let me see. Yes, I think we need a progressive Pope, a forward-thinking one. I think that it's going to be very interesting to see how this unfolds. I think, yes, I agree, Parry. He gave us a way to live, and he was, I think, a very progressive and fair man, lovely guy. So, look, the phrase for the week, before I do the tarot card of the week, and then we can match it up with Wishing Pool Tarot, is standing up to be counted. Now, I thought this could be relevant because, first of all, Canada has its elections tomorrow. You all up there in Canada have got to stand up to be counted. You've got to be clear about your decision about who you want leading your country, your sovereign nation, not an annexed piece of land that belongs to another country. Absolutely not. And you need a leader who is going to hold firm to that and not be put in the pocket of other leaders. So this is why I chose standing up to be counted. And I think it's something that we can all learn from the Mars-Pluto opposition of personal empowerment, that actually we all have to show courage, integrity. We have to claim our place. We have to live our truth and stand up literally and be counted. And I do think, because another thing I haven't looked at today, but I will have a look at probably in the month ahead, is Eris and Chiron being conjunct in Aries soon, because I think we're going to see a lot more of, not exactly rioting, but pretty feisty protests on the streets in various parts of the world. America, maybe in Canada, the UK, Europe. Many areas are going to see this this kind of need to stand up and be counted, and we have to start actually saying enough is enough, and take back the control and the power that is taken away from us by the powers that be. Edmund Burke said, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." Now, I think we need to think clearly about that, because it's kind of true, isn't it? Yes, that's true, Cosmic BL. The time spent in mourning is to be in the proportion with the time spent loving them. No, is that what our past loved ones want? Of course not. They want us to get on with our lives. I can remember my mother saying to me, "Oh, I just want you to have your life. I want you to be doing what you want to do." And she really said it. And be true to yourself, Ursa 7. Absolutely. What are my thoughts on Keir Starmer? Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think he's on a losing wicket. I don't think he's going to be in power very long. I would predict that Conservatives in England will join forces with Reform in minor ways to begin with, and then there'll be a big, merge, because Tories are floundering. And I'm not going to say anymore. Right, Maggie Kunn said, "Speak your mind, even if your voice shakes." Have you ever done that? Where you really feel, when we were at school, I have to say this, I can remember doing it when I was standing up to some bullies who were bullying another girl in my class. And I've told you this story before, I absolutely probably turned purple with rage, but I had to tell them what I thought, that it was so evil what they were doing. And it was just, I will never forget that. Now, Martin Luther King Jr. said, "In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." And again, that's a truth. We have to stand up. We have to take back our own power. Theodore Roosevelt said in the Man in the Arena speech, "It is not the critic who counts. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena. And that's us. Desmond Tutu said, if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. You can't sit on the fence. We can't sit on the fence. We have to go out there and be proactive. We have to take back our planet from a whole load of old boys who haven't seemingly got a clue about the people that are keeping the planet working and moving and turning. Our lovely planet. Yes, Tara. Absolutely, Annabelle. Anger is not our enemy. It's telling us something is wrong. It has to be channeled in a measured way. Well said. We should protect our planet all the time. Absolutely, Tara. So Martin Luther King Jr. again said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Whoa, I don't think this could be more appropriate for where we are today, in general, on the planet. Enough is enough. And I wonder whether with Pluto going retrograde, that's where we find our power. And it helps propel us to go back and review what has been unfolding and do something about bringing about the change that is needed. Mark Twain said, courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. And that's true. That's feel the fear, but do it anyway. Say it anyway. Malala Yousafzai, can't pronounce it, sorry if I've said it wrong. When the whole world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. There's an unknown one here, which is stand up for what is right, even if you are standing alone. And finally, Mahatma Gandhi said, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. So there we have quite strident, profound, and dramatic comments there. Shall we get a word for the day? And let's see what else. You'll catch up afterwards. That's no problem, Simi. Lovely to see you. And so let's do a card of the week. Now, Wishing Pool Tarot had the 9 of coins. And that's really about us standing alone and owning our power. And parry, when the power of love overcomes the love of power, we will know peace, said Jimi Hendrix. Yes. Sun God Ra, I'm praying to our beautiful warm sun. Pray for protection. Thank you, Imo. Lovely, lovely. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. And the heart from M, thank you. And you love the quote, Zana. Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. And let's see. So let's see. We want, oh, it's this one. That's the one that's popped out for the week ahead. And it's the 4 of Wands. So hang on, let me get it in the camera. There we go. There we go. 4 of Wands. I love this card. Do you know, first thing that's come into my mind, for me, I think this means I'm finding that buyer very soon, maybe even this week. How about that then? That'll be interesting to see if that unfolds. But in general, for everybody, I would say it's a good week. and be happy. One of the most important things. Oh, Tara, you just picked the card of abundance. To love and appreciate the gifts of our Mother Earth and know that we, like the earth, are abundant. Amen to that. Home and commitment. Yes. Four of Wands, home. And this is about the importance of home. And remember, home is not just the bricks and mortar. It's also the people you're with, and it's the part of the planet that you are living on. It's so important to be in the right place for you to flourish. And I personally see this as a card of abundance. And yes, absolutely, Annabelle. This is the card of the earth. It is Mother Earth as well. Oh, Jim, bless you. Home is here with Penny. I like that. Thank you. Okay. What's this? Parry. Being alive with authenticity and yeah, we all matter, Parry. Every single soul and animal and insect and plant and blade of grass matters. I think it's so important we never, ever forget that. Simi, you're feeling such a strong sense of positivity. Yes, I would say this week's going to be very important. And I would say the number 4 will be important. Now, we haven't got a 4th this week because the 4th is not till, let me think, Thursday's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd. I think that's Sunday, isn't it? Next Sunday's the 4th. And that's when Mykonos, it can be the marriage card. Yes, that's right. Happy family, isn't it? Absolutely. And I wonder also whether the 4th day this week. So if this is, if let's take Monday as day 1, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the 1st of May then is the 4th day. So perhaps we will see something important on the 1st of May. Christine, oh, you are so welcome. Thank you. I really hope that's helped you, Christine, because I know what fear is like. I really do. And I was so fearful of losing both my parents. And it's something we can't avoid. It comes, but you know what? We survive it, and we survive so strong. And we think, oh, wow, I did it. I got through it. And you know what? They're closer to you once they've passed than when they were alive. Believe me, I had absolute proof of life beyond this existence. Things that happened to me, absolutely gobsmacking. And for another day, I will tell you the stories. But she talks to me. She still does. I have lots of conversations with her. It's going to get very warm in London. Woo, lovely. When you ask, be ready for miracles. That's right, Christine, absolutely. And, you know, we are, what's this? That is funny. Your guides gave you the number when you were meditating. Looking forward to Monday's election here in Canada. Go, Carney, go. Yeah, Carney, someone vote for him for me. He's getting my spiritual vote, certainly. So listen, guys, I want to wish Canada the best of luck, and that you choose the leader that is for the highest good of all of you and the rest of the world. That is what I wish for you, that you choose the leader for the highest good of all. And then you know what? You can't really go far wrong, can you? And Sue, you lost your mum at your first Saturn return, dad at second. Yeah, that's something that can happen. And yeah, it is tough. Yeah, go, Mr. Handsome. Absolutely. He's gone quite grey now, hasn't he? But when he was younger and dark. But I think he's probably a bit short, and I'm 5'10.5", so I think he'd probably only come up to about here on me. Anyway, Canada, I really wish you loads of luck tomorrow, and look forward to seeing what is going to unfold. It'll be good. I really feel. And don't worry about Canada. It's a sovereign state, and that's how it's staying. And you're a big country. Not that easy to overtake you. Anyway, so on that note, thank you all so much for joining me. Please remember, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Go to my other channel, Channeling and Stranger Things, and check out the videos we've put up today. They're good ones. And if you want to have, if you want to book a session with me, I'm taking bookings from July. The reason is I'll be taking 6 weeks off because in May I'm having my shoulder done. It's just a rotator cuff repair, so nothing too dramatic, but I'll be like this. But I'll still be doing my videos. I'm going to give myself a rest from working with clients because I know that last time after anesthetic, I just wanted to sleep all the time. So I'm anticipating that I may feel quite sleepy again this time. So you're welcome, Ravina. It's good to see you. Good to see you too, Ursa 7, Annabelle, Mekning Poog. I can never pronounce your name, my darling. You're so welcome. You're all so welcome. And let's just say goodbye for now. That's the best way to end, isn't it? And say goodbye. And I will keep in touch, and there will be some astrobites. I'm not sure when the next one is. Oh, remember, join me for my live on Thursday, the month ahead, and a phrase for the month ahead. Okay, look, I'm wittering again. I always witter. I'm going to go. I'm going. Bye. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye. Bye.